You'll no doubt be aware of the breakdown of social order currently ongoing in various cities across the United States. I wanted to talk about why I believe what we currently are seeing in America will eventually be coming to the United Kingdom. Now, last year in September 2019, I made a video titled Widespread Civil Disorder Come to the UK. I'll leave this link in the description below. This video was made September 2019, pre-corona, right? Pre the wild current 2020 world we're living in. But in that video, pre-corona, I touched on why I believed widespread civil disorder would be coming to the UK. And amongst other things, I mentioned the zero interest rate policy, ultra low rates, quantitative easing would eventually lead to an economic collapse. And that would be widespread civil disorder happening in the UK. Now, the problem is we have in the UK against necessarily America is we know the police are fairly powerless, right? In the UK, my opinion on the UK police isn't particularly good based on my anecdotal dealings with the UK police. I've never been that impressed. I don't think they are good at keeping people safe. I do not think they're good at protecting people's private property. I do not think they are very good at dealing with crime. My opinion of the UK police is actually very, very low. Maybe that's just my anecdotal experiences and talking to other people who have dealt with the UK police. I don't have a particularly high opinion of the UK police, just my personal opinion. Let me know in the comments if you have a disagreeing, if you've had good experiences with police. I personally haven't. The problem we have, and very similar to what's happening in America, is the police will be powerless when there is wide-scale rioting, wide-scale disorder. The police are going to be looking after their own backs, right? They will not be able to help everybody and anybody. Like the argument, one of the big arguments people have against disarming the UK population, i.e. ending the good guy with a gun, is you can just phone the police. However, in the best of times, even if you phone the police in a critical situation, they're always going to be at least minutes away, right? When seconds counts, the police are just minutes away. In a wide-scale disorder situation, the police probably won't even come. Now, America, of course, Second Amendment, pro-gun, people can, and you can see this on YouTube and other media platforms yourself, people defending their property with their own arms, whether it's firearms or baseball bats, whatever it is. I mean, just in the UK, right, it's illegal to preemptively have self-defense. So this pen, if a police officer knocked on the door and asked a few questions, and I said, well, the purpose of this pen isn't for writing, it's to stab a burglar should a burglar enter my property, that will be illegal. You're not allowed to preemptively have a means of preemptive self-defense in the UK. Once you're attacked, if I was attacked by a burglar coming into the house, then I could pick this pen up and use it in a self-defense manner. But it'd be illegal for the purposes of having that just for a preemptive strike. So we're very, very different from America. And that is very, very worrying. I mean, people argue, well, we don't have school shootings in the UK. America's insane for its firearms. But I think as we see wide-scale disorder come in, and I think it's unavoidable. I think we've passed the event horizon. I think so much money has been printed. These ultra-low interest rates aren't working, and it's only Rishi Sunak, Boris Johnson, they've got their foot firmly down on the accelerator. We are just careering to a wall, and eventually we're going to hit it. I thought it was bad, September 2019. You can only imagine how terrified I essentially am of, what is eventually going to happen. I'm not terrified for my own life or, things like that. I'm just terrified for the wider nation, and especially the people that can't see this coming. They're going to be in for a big shock when it eventually does happen. Now, what could be the spark? Obviously, I talked in the civil disorder video about the killing of Mark Duggan. If you don't know too much about the guy, you can look him up. It's essentially the guy that was shot by armed police. They thought he had a gun. He didn't have a gun. They shot him. And it led to a protest very much similar like we've seen in the US with the George Floyd thing. And that broke down. Initially, it was a peaceful protest. It broke down, and that caused the London riots, which weren't just London. They spread across various parts of the UK. It descended from being about the protest initially just to wide-scale looting, very much similar to the George Floyd thing. I think most of the people that are out there aren't really protesting. They are just smashing shops up to get free things. Now, this is in still relatively good times, right? I think the thing that worries me is everything that the government are doing now, everything that Rishi Sunak is doing now, everything that the Fed are doing in America. it's going to make the situation many fold worse. When one of the reasons probably why, obviously the killing of George Floyd, it was totally unjustified. You know, I've seen the videos, probably most of you have seen the video. My trust in police is very low. British police, and there's certainly, bad American police officers out there. There are certainly good police officers here in the UK. I don't want to make it seem like every cop in the UK isn't good, but just my dealings with UK police hasn't been that great. So I don't know what the ratio of good cop to bad cop is. But obviously there are good cops out there in the UK and America, but there obviously are very bad ones as well. The killing of George Floyd seems to be like totally unjustifiable. There was no logical reason for that to happen, and I'm not surprised that protests happen off the back of it. But I think eventually we're going to get to the point where it's going to be bad, and people aren't armed. You can't defend your property. You don't even have the ability. I mean, yes, some people have shotguns with birdshot, which isn't a particularly good way of defending your home. Firing birdshot at an angry intruder into your house will probably just make them more angry. It's certainly not going to kill them. The thing I really worry about, and the thing I mentioned in the civil disorder video, is that when we get to a point that if and when there is like wide-scale civil disorder, who has the guns? In the UK, there are very few good guys with guns. It is the majority of guns on the street, especially in inner urban areas. In the countryside, yes, most farmers, people that enjoy shooting have shotguns. They might have rifles. Handguns are basically completely banned in the UK, so they're probably going to have some form of shotgun, probably with birdshot, which is ineffective against a human, really. It'll probably just make them more angry unless you hit them in the eyes or something like that. Or a rifle. Most of these are hunting rifles, so not particularly fast at reloading, etc. Anyway, the point is, in inner city urban areas, it's drug dealers, it's armed gangs, it's organised criminals who have the guns. So if we see large-scale civil disorder, don't expect it to be like America. Don't expect it to be people like good guys managing to protect their shops, businesses they've built up over a lifetime. It's probably going to be many-fold worse than it is currently in America. People will just be going into people's houses because you can't have a method of defending yourself in the UK. Unfortunately, that's illegal. We don't have a constitution. We don't have a Bill of Rights in the same way. Where there is an unwritten constitution, there is arguably a part of the Bill of Rights that still exists to this day, but we don't have that we don't have a nice codified, this is what you can do, this is what you cannot do. It doesn't really work like that. So it's very worrying. Everything we're currently seeing in America, this could be happening to the UK, and it's probably going to be worse because you're going to end up phoning the police and they will say we cannot come and help you while you get your head bludgeoned in by an armed, even if they're not armed, if it's 20-1, you probably want a firearm in that 20-1 situation because that's somewhat of a balance of power. Anyway, I thought it was just an interesting one. I'll leave the link in the description. If you watch that widespread civil disorder video, go back and watch it. And don't forget, that was pre-corona. That was pre the madness that Rishi Sunak, Boris Johnson are currently doing. Full throttle on the gas. Things are only going to get worse before, if they ever eventually get better. That's just my input on what's happening in America and how that could become to the UK. Thanks for watching this video, guys. If you like it, like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, I'll see you in the next video.